This is the third effects pedal by Cosmodio Instruments. It's called the Glitch Witch. They're a local company to me. They're made here in Massachusetts. But to be clear, this is not a sponsored video. I paid for this pedal with my own money. Now, Cosmodio's pedals to date have been fuzz pedals with added functions, and this kind of follows that same concept. The fuzz circuit here is quite impressive, and of course they mentioned that it can do classic fuzz tones as well as modern ones. But okay, if you're a real vintage fuzz freak and maybe you're into things like fuzz faces and tone benders, yeah, it can do that, of course. But where the fuzz really gets into its own thing is in these really higher gain settings. The boutique pedal game brought all sorts of tweaks and adjustments for players that always wanted more than what like a vintage throwback fuzz pedal wise type of situation. And this offers up a lot more adjustability, and that's basically what it's a modern fuzz pedal for the 21st century, I would call it. And it's got a lot more functionality and adjustability that was available when tie-dye and VW buses were the norm. Okay, but here's some housekeeping. This is the typical YouTuber thing. I always say it. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. The bell icon will let you know when I put up a new video. I know there's like 97 to 98% of the viewers on this page aren't subscribers. If you want to help drive the YouTube algorithm so you can see more videos as I put them up, if you hit the subscribe button, that'll happen, and you'll be sure not to miss any future videos. If you like this video, click the thumbs up button, and if you want to share it, there's a button for that as well. Anyways, back to the Glitch Witch. The fuzz side of this can be, as I've mentioned, quite aggressive and yet still tweakable. The level control adjusts the fuzz level, and the tone is adjusted via these small mini high and low toggle switches. For players that really love fuzz but hate it when it gets so compressed and thick that you lose definition, well, they've got this clean blend control that will be your buddy. Run it into a clean amp and then you dial up that blend, you'll find that you'll get unaffected and unfuzzed tone coming into the mix in a parallel sense. A bass player using this can really make fuzz bass something easily that you can dial in and maintain clarity and definition while bringing in a bigger and fatter sound. So this isn't just for guitar players. In fact, the bass part I used on the piece in the beginning of this shows that I got a really nice kind of like 9 Inch Nails bass-like sound that can kind of feel like a bass guitar and a synth bass happening at the same time. Now, using this in a guitar format, same kind of idea. Put a drive afterwards and then, or run into a distorted amp, and that makes gain stacking work in a unique way. It means you can have that fuzzy fullness and then not give up the tack and articulation. So basically that signal, that cleanest signal after this hitting another distorted device will really kind of add that clarity to what you're playing. To keep things somewhat under control, there's a gate function here as well too. So basically, if you want to kind of get into the thing of having the fuzz cutting out like a hard gate, that's a great musical option. One thing I did find, and you'll hear it in the beginning on that track I played in the front of the video, this fuzz can be very sensitive, especially in the higher gain settings that I used. Every minute pick scrape and attack inconsistency sometimes gets picked up, magnified, and brought right to the forefront. Whereas maybe in like a softer drive setting, maybe a little inconsistency in attack or approach would probably get lost in the overall mix. Not here. It's almost like a telescope and a microscope at the same time. It really brings stuff right up into the forefront. There's another added functionality in here, as Cosmodio does. They kind of have this idea, and it's called like it's a divide function, and it's working in it's they use the term rhythmicon. It was an idea that was developed about 100 years ago, in part by Leo Theremin. Yes, the inventor of the theremin came up with kind of this idea. And there's a voice control that messes with amplitude modulation as well as ring modulation, pitch tracking and stability comes in there. And it's this little divide function. And the divisor control is stepped for how you want to have the frequencies to get sliced up in varying ways. And the depth is how far they go. It's kind of like a modulated added function in there. And this modulated divide function, it's added by its own foot switch, which is great because the fuzz effect is really gnarly when engaged on its own. So when you add this additional tonal option, things get gnarly to the second power. It really sustains things for very long periods, especially when the pulse is very wide. It comes with that kind of glorious 8-bit crushing sputter and imperfect chopping, like a tremolo circuit that's malfunctioning. It's more or less using the guitar's input signal to, along with the pitch going in there as well too, being the deciding factor of how this modulation works. Higher frequencies modulate faster, lower ones go for longer. It makes sense that this works great on bass, baritone guitars, as well as lower riffs on lower guitar strings. I found that some of the higher pitches that go into that 8-bit video game sound, it does that quite easily, regardless whether you want to or not. You may have to kind of find some tweaking to find the sweet spot of how you're using that divide function in that manner. Using this to follow bass parts or create like a fuzz pad in a track is kind of a great application. Kind of gives you some thickness, especially just like very minimal effort. It really does work and respond kind of like an analog modular synth, where the distorted tone and the divided tones are not beholden into the typical fuzz, into like a guitar fuzz into a Marshall. It goes into very new territory very quickly. They're maybe getting some used to getting to that divided function and applying it in a musical sense, especially to whatever you're doing. It's maybe your mileage may vary. There's a lot it can do, but it definitely brings something very unique to the table. I kind of consider the divide function as an extra area to explore. It may be one of those functions that when you engage it, you'll find yourself leaning over your pedal board and tweaking and adjusting it to seeing what is needed to whatever's going on musically that you have happening. I do consider the fuzz side to be really full and really adjustable for big, meaty, and heavy tones. This type of fuzz sound makes desert rock look like a rainforest when you hear all the how fuzzy this can get. Fu Manchu type of stuff, or Caius, that real heavy, gritty, fat and thick fuzz. Yeah, this does that and then some. And you can even better, you can not fight with the fuzz pedal to get those tones in there. You can actually use this as adding what you want of a fuzz and not giving up what you really want with your guitar sound. So it's adding to it quite well, which is that blend control really does give you those options. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you guys on the Glitch Witch. Do you have one? How are you using it? Are you using it on bass and guitar? Are you using a guitar? Are you using it on a drum machine, or even like some maybe some department store synthesizer? That would be it would definitely apply for a lot of those applications. Even a drum machine, this would be kind of neat to be able to kind of have that crispy and crunchy 8-bit glitchy rhythmic thing happening with a drum machine. You can blend in the unaffected sound, so you're not missing that attack. You're just getting that kind of halo of fuzz around what's going on. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care.